Story from the Magid of Mezrich. Once, Magid of Mezrich called one of his pupils. The Magid of Mezrich was the pupil of the Baal Shem Tov, and he began the whole Chassidic movement in a detailed way. The first Rebbe of Chabad was his main pupil, his youngest pupil was main pupil. So once he called one of his pupils, and the pupil was a big genius, but he was all raggedy looking, looked like a scarecrow. He didn't care about anything about his appearance, he wanted to learn Torah and do commandments. So he called this pupil and he said, you have to get married. It's a commandment to get married, you have to get married. So he said, Rabbi, I want to sit and learn. He says, no. You have to get married, that's your job. The first, I want you to leave here, start walking. The first person that offers you a girl to get married, you take it, you accept it. He says, okay. So he starts to walk, takes a little bit of money, whatever he's got, a little bit of food, and his tefillin, of course, and he starts to walk. He walks and walks. He's walking, he's getting tired. He stops off in an inn. It's already nighttime. He's already walked for 10 hours. Stops off at this inn and sits in a corner, doesn't know what he's supposed to do. Meanwhile, in this inn are sitting a bunch of drunken Jews, ruffians. And they're all laughing and they're making all sorts of, stupid jokes and things like that and drinking and this. All of a sudden, one of them notices this chassid in the corner. And he says, they say, and they're bored out of their minds. So there's 10 of them. And they say, let's have a good time. So they go over to him, this fellow, and they say, hey, Rabbi, we're inviting you to the wedding. So he said, oh, thank you very much. Whose wedding? He says, your wedding. It's my wedding. What do you mean? Just wait right here. They go into the kitchen and they bring out the owner of the inn, who happens to be a Jew. The owner, he's a rich Jew. His daughter. He's got a daughter that's a sort of a simple girl. And she's working in the kitchen. She's cleaning up over there. And the owner of the place left her as sort of the manager. Well, he was gone on some sort of a business deal or something. So they bring her out and they say, we're inviting you to the wedding. She said, what wedding? Who's getting married? They say, you'll see. So she comes out and she dries her hands, on her apron. And they say, what do you think about the groom? And she looks at him, she says, it seems like a nice boy. Although he says, well, we're making a wedding. He says, well, who's the bride? She says, you're the bride. She says, I'm the bride. Oh, that's nice. So they take the tablecloth, they put it over their heads. And they say, 1 second, somebody has to write the ketuvah. According to Jewish law, you have to have a marriage document. Who's going to write it? So this fellow, he's a Talmudic scholar. He says, I know how to write one. I know. He remembers what the Magid of Mezrich told him to marry the first girl. They said, you do. So they bring out parchment, they bring out a pen. They're all drunk, out of their minds. They bring and he writes a whole document. He says what her name is and this and that, and he signs. And they're the witnesses, they sign. And they hold this thing over their heads. And they say the 7 blessings. And one of them takes a ring somehow or other and he gives it to him and he puts it on her finger. They find a ring somewhere and they puts it on her finger. And that's it, and they're married. Mazel tov, mazel tov. Now we have to start giving presents to the groom. Give him presents to the groom. So one takes a plate of pickles, puts it on his head, stops it, pours it on him. Then one takes some whatever it is, some oil, and spills it on him. And they're laughing, and they're all drunk. And she goes back into the kitchen, to work in the kitchen, and they're finished. And he sits in his corner. And the next day, or after a couple of hours, whatever, her father comes home. And he sees that the whole place is all, turned over, upside down. And these drunk guys are laying all over the floor and all over. So they said, what's going on? He tries to wake the people up. He says, what's going on? Here's this Talmud Chacham, this boy sitting in the corner. And he's sitting there and learning. He said, what happened? What happened? All of a sudden, his daughter comes out from the kitchen. He says, oh, Daddy, I'm married. What? Said, yeah, I got married, Daddy. I got married. This was the wedding. They had a wedding here today. Said, what are you talking about? What is this foolishness? You got married. Says, yeah, here's the wedding document. Here's the ketuvah. Said, what? Who wrote this? He did. Who'd you get married to? Him. He says, what? That scarecrow? You got married to him? So what? This is ridiculous. This is just stupid. This is just ridiculous. He says, first of all, he calls some people from some of his helpers or whatever, and they put the drunkards, they kick them out, they take the money that he owes them, and they clean up the place. And he goes over and he says, okay, I want you to divorce my wife, my daughter right now. Give her a divorce. He says, no, I can't. The Magid of Mezrich told me I can't. He says, here, take your ketuvah. Here, I'm ripping the thing up. He says, you can rip it up, but we're still married. It doesn't make any difference. We went through the process. The only way she'll be not married is, I have to divorce her. Okay, so divorce her. He says, I'm not gonna. I'll give you money. All of a sudden, he changes his attitude. Listen, I like you. You're a nice guy. But my daughter, she's not 100% normal. You don't want to get married to her. I'll tell you what, I'll give you $500 and divorce my wife. He says, no, I think she's a nice girl. And I was told that I should marry the first offer that I have. He says, okay, listen, I'll give you 1,000. No, I can't. 10,000. You'll be a rich man. What come on, let me out of this thing. And he said, no, I'll only do it if we go to the Magid of Mezrich. He says, okay, I'll convince him. He's got to get his daughter out of this thing. And so they travel to the Magid of Mezrich. It's not that long of a journey, right? He's been walking for like 10 hours. So they get on a carriage and they drive down there, and it takes them about an hour. They go into the Magid of Mezrich. The Magid of Mezrich says, excuse me, did you tell this young man to marry my daughter? He said, yes. That was the first. He said, she was the first one I met. He said, listen, I'll give you 50,000 golden pieces. Let's break this thing off. I see your synagogue here looks a little bit run down, and I see you could use a new probably you could use new clothes. If with this money you could advertise, And he said, no, I'm not interested in money at all. Not interested in money at all. He said, if this man wants to divorce your daughter, then okay, we'll make a price. We'll make a price if he wants. But you have to remember, your daughter is going to be divorced. She's going to be a divorcee. And people aren't going to run so fast to a divorce. He says, I don't care. I just don't want her to be married to this scarecrow. This guy is nuts. Look at him. He even smells bad. I can't take it. Baal Shem Tov said, okay, give him the 50,000 golden pieces, which is something like, $200,000. Give him the money. Give him the money. Write a bill of divorce. And so he gives him the money. He writes a bill of divorce. And he says, that's it. Now your daughter is divorced. Finishes your divorce. Thank you very much. Thank you. So the Magid of Mezrich says, but listen, you realize, like I told you before, your daughter is now a divorcee. People don't jump to marry divorcees. And not only that, like you say, your daughter, she's not exactly the biggest prize in the world. She's not, there's going to be, with her being divorced also, it's going to be a big problem. So he said, yeah, but it's worth it. It's worth it. I can't have her married to that guy. So Magid of Mezrich says, the fact of the matter is that I have another match for you. It's really a boy that's a Talmid Chacham, wonderful personality. He'll understand your daughter. Your daughter has fine qualities. He'll recognize those qualities. What do you say? He said, I have to call him. I'll send somebody to get him. Wait here for 1 hour, I'll come in. He sits there 1 hour. All of a sudden comes in the room, a boy, handsome looking, clean, honorable. He looks looking straight ahead. He comes in and shakes his hand. Hello. And then said, oh, this is a good match. This is a good match. He says, yes, and he agrees he'll marry your daughter, even though that she's a divorcee, and he understands the problems. I explained the whole thing to him. She has a couple of deficiencies. Explain. He says, really, he'll marry? Oh, this is wonderful. He says, let's do it. Let's do it. Who is this young man? He says, here, he says, one second. The name, his name, that name is familiar with what this. It was the same name as the boy before. He said, "This is the same boy as before. It's the same one." He said, "Yeah, all that was lacking to him was money. That's all that's lacking. As soon as he got money, he became a different person. He became a person that cared about the world. He became a person that was practical, that was involved. Is the same exact person. That all was lacking to him was money. As soon as he got money, then he became a person that's really fitting for you and for your family." And that's the whole reason that the Magid of Mezrich did this whole thing, was in order that this young man should get the money, and with the money he changed totally for the better. That's the opposite of what happened with the spies. As soon as the spies saw the world and they looked at the world, it changed them into going against what God wanted. And this young man, when he got things of the world, he became exactly what God wanted. Let that be a lesson to us, that if we use the world properly, it becomes a tremendous elevation for each and every one of us. Have a good day with Mashiach now. Hope to see you all tomorrow.